Joining us now to break down the state of the media and give us the details behind the situation in Iowa is Adam Guillette. He's the founder of the watchdog group Accuracy in Media. So, Adam, to your credit, I think you're the only network that was really covering exactly what was going on in Iowa. We just showed your video right there, and we know that you've been doing media hits. You've been following up on these allegations. Can you break it down for our viewers exactly what is going on there?
I appreciate you covering that. Now, in a world where the media is focused on clickbait headlines and, preaching to the choir, speaking to their echo chamber, they're not doing the real job that they should be doing in terms of investigative journalism, not only in voter fraud, but in, as you said, major FEC violations. So Accuracy in Media, we sent one of our investigative journalists to Iowa to investigate Teresa Greenfield and the Iowa Senate race. While there, we found out that Greenfield and congressional candidate Rita Hart had been massively violating FEC rules, it seemed. In the case of Rita Hart, the Iowa Democratic Party had exceeded the amount of in-kind contributions that they're allowed to give her campaign threefold. 3 times over the limit. It's something punishable by 5 years in jail. Serious allegations, serious violations. The only way they can get around that limit is if they use in-kind volunteer labor. But as we saw in the video, they're not actually using volunteers. They're just pretending to volunteer, and they're using machines to do the work. These people want to make laws, but as we see on video, they're perfectly comfortable breaking them.
And of course, we clipped that video, and our viewers can go to Accuracy in Media and see it in its entirety right there, because there's a little bit more context there as well. But I think it touches on something that you and I have talked about before, is that so much now it's about whether or not you're supporting Republican or Democrat agenda points, that things that in the past would have just made good stories for the media, good investigative journalism, such as what we're looking at right now, it doesn't get covered anymore. And do you think that that is taking place more so because of the polarization in the country, or do you think that it's just a decision that's made to push subliminal agendas?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a fragmented media landscape, and they're all fighting for smaller slivers of an increasingly small pie. And with that in mind, it's much easier to write salacious, fictitious clickbait headlines than it is for the New York Times to actually send somebody on the ground, do the expensive work required for investigative journalism, particularly when they know that their audience doesn't want to read that story anyway. Much simpler just to make up another allegation against Trump and run a funny headline with it.
And, we've talked about this before on this program as well, but the New York Times, for example, even when it was the Hunter Biden laptop, they have the resources, they have the personnel to get to the bottom of that, either debunk it or not, if it's true or not, but they didn't. And the fact that they didn't even want to touch it, I think that speaks to exactly what is exactly going on in this country, because they didn't even want to give it credence, they didn't even want to, for example, put it in the news cycle. And that's something that I'm realizing right now, too, for example, when we talk about lockdown orders. I was watching the news over the weekend, and I realized that it was public health officials, which is great. I think we should hear from them, but it was never the small business owner. And I think that is something that maybe a couple of years ago we would have seen more, but nowadays those people are either rightly or wrongly affiliated with President Trump, since he's against lockdown orders. Are you seeing that as well, that we're just not getting the same two sides of the story that we used to?
No, that's exactly what we're seeing. Rather than learning what's going on the ground, rather than hearing the hometown point of view on how this is affecting average everyday people, they just want to put on the quote-unquote experts that will regurgitate the sound bites that they already believe in. They want to preach to their choir and tell their audience what they want to hear, rather than actually doing the work and showing the people on the ground and how they are affected by these rules put into place.
I think that's exactly right, because it's a conversation that's just not being had, to the detriment of the people who want that information. But, Adam, before we let you go, too, there's the prospect of a coronavirus vaccine is a lot of people really eager to get back to normalcy, but there's talks that will come with it a very strong media presence as well. Former presidents have said that they want to come on and show the people that it's going to be safe, things of that nature. Do you think that will take place? And if so, what will it look like?
Well, for so long, the media has been trying to downplay the vaccine. They've put politics ahead of human life because they didn't want Trump to benefit from the fact that we brought forth a vaccine in incredible record time. Now that Trump appears likely not to take the presidency anymore, I think we'll see less of the media slamming the vaccine and more of hopefully honest coverage about this incredible human achievement. Only in a prosperous, relatively free market economy like America can 9 months after a pandemic spreads across the globe, we come up with a cure to it. And I hope the media covers the story for what it really is, which is the success of free markets.
I think you're exactly right, because it's something that we can learn from too. If this situation were to come around in the future, I hope that we can learn what worked right now, because you're exactly right. What we're looking right now with this vaccine, I mean, it's nothing short of a miracle. It's really a beautiful thing that we're looking at. But Adam Guillette, as always, I appreciate you coming on this program tonight and breaking down what's going on in the media. Thank you.